Have you ever seen something that everyone else is doing and think to yourself, you know what? That looks like a good idea.
Nick.
What? Everyone else is doing it, it suits me. That's exactly what Montech did with the new XR Wood. It's a metal box with a glass side panel with 4 included ARGB fans, but does the minimal use of wood make a case better? Let's find out. But after Claire has a yap about today's video sponsor.
This video is brought to you by VIPSCDKey.com. Have you ever installed Windows 11 only to see the watermark of death? You don't need to fork out a couple of $100s for a key. You can grab one from today's video sponsor, from VIPSCDKey.com for a tenth of the price. You can use our code GEAR to get 30% off for this month only. How good is that? That takes that already cheap Windows 11 key and makes it even cheaper. It's easy as placing your order. Bingo bango. You've got your new key on your orders page. You chuck that key into the activation screen and you're good to go. No more watermark of death. Use code GEAR to get 30% off for this month only. Link in the description. On with the video. Back to you, Nick.
Thanks, Klevv. I better get to removing some panels now. To remove the TG side panel on the XR Wood, there's a little tab. You put your thumb on the edge of that tab, push the panel away from the case. It'll tilt, and then you want to lift the TG panel up and away from the case. To remove the rear side panel, there are 2 captive thumb screws, one at the top and one at the bottom of the panel. You want to loosen both of those screws, grab the handle, then pull it, and then lift that back panel up and away from the case. To remove the front panel, there's a little lip on the bottom edge. Put your fingers underneath it, give it a bit of a yank, and then lift the panel up and away from the case. For dust filtration, there is a magnetic dust filter at the top of the XR Wood, which is quite easily removable. There's another optional dust filter for the front panel of the case, which you don't need to use. This one is quite easily removable as well. And there's another dust filter on the side panel of the case because this case has side intake, as well as another dust filter on the bottom of the case. So that's 4 dust filters in total. As for power supply support, the XR Wood supports power supplies up to 230mm in total size, and it will only support ATX power supplies. As for storage, there is a single removable drive sled on the back of the motherboard tray, and this sled here will support a 2.5-inch SSD. However, there is more drive compatibility here. You can install 3 more drives. You can do another 2.5-inch drive on the top of the hard drive cage, and then 2 2.5-inch drives inside of that cage. There are 4 pre-installed fans in total. There are 3 120mm Montech GF120 ARGB PWM fans right up the front of the case. And there's also another 120mm fan at the rear of the case. And this is the same model as the 3 at the front of the case. All 4 fans are daisy chainable 3-pin 5V addressable RGB PWM fans, and they can all be daisy chained as mentioned. For cable management, you can see that the XR Wood is not too sophisticated. There's 2 Velcro tie downs included with the case, but other than that, it's pretty standard fare here. You'll notice there are rubber grommets for cable pass-through, both at the top edge and the bottom edge of the motherboard tray, as well as cable pass-throughs at the bottom on the top of the PSU shroud for USB cables and all that jazz. There are 2 cable pass-throughs at the top of the motherboard tray for EPS power cables and fan cables, and then there is another hole on the bottom of the case which is typically used to pass your GPU power cables through. I never really use these. For fan and radiator support, up the front you can do up to 3 120mm fans or 2 140mm fans, or up to a 280mm radiator. Up top you can do up to 3 120mm fans, 2 140mm fans, a 240mm rad, or a 360mm radiator. And as you'll see later, we did a 360mm radiator in our build. On the top of the PSU shroud or the bottom of the case, you can do up to 3 120mm fans in total. The XR Wood does have provisions for side fan mounting, and it will allow you to install 2 120mm fans on the side. However, you cannot install a radiator here. There's not enough clearance. And finally, at the rear, you can either do a 120mm fan or a 140mm fan. For motherboard support, the XR Wood will support motherboards from ITX all the way up to ATX with no EATX support. This case isn't very large. If you're looking at using an air cooler, the XR Wood supports air cooler heights up to 175mm in total. Moving on to GPU support here. This case does not support vertical GPU mounting. It does have the horizontal supports for the PCIe cutouts. However, it will allow you to install a GPU up to 420 millimeters in total length. As for case wiring, there's a block for the front panel lights and switches. There's a USB Type A cable. There's the front panel audio cable and a USB Type C cable. As for the I/O, there's a power button. There's a hard disk activity light, a power light, a reset button, a microphone jack, a headphone jack, 2 USB Type A ports, and a USB Type C port. Now, Montech, we did a case together, but you're not getting away with this one. Why do you still need to label these things on top of the case? It makes the quality of the case look cheap. Please stop doing this. Finally, to make it a wood case, there are 2 wooden inlays. There's one on the bottom of the front panel and there's another one on the top of the case with the Montech logo kind of burnt into the wood. And that's all of the wood on the case. I guess because it's got wood, you can call it the XR Wood, right? That's everything you need to know about the Montech XR Wood for now. Let's do our usual thing, ladies and gents. Let's do a build and then I'll let you know if this case is worth your hard-earned money. Let's build it. All right, let's take a look at the thermals with the Montech XR Wood. What you're seeing on your screen now is that the dust filters do inhibit the cooling on this case quite a bit. Now 3 degrees may not be a lot, but put this into perspective. This is a 9800X3D and typically doesn't run that warm. Anything that will generate more heat, this delta will be much larger, right? 3 degrees on a 9800X3D is quite a lot. My recommendation is typically with cases like this, do not run the top filter and you should be okay. As well as that, you could probably get away with not running the front filter and just run no filters. Yeah, you guys love to complain about these type of magnetic filters. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I don't like them. They feel cheap and like they're kind of like a parts bin filter, if you will. If you're wondering why I didn't use fans on the bottom as intake or on the side as intake, I decided not to add any extra fans other than the fans that are on the cooler in this build, because I feel like a lot of the time people put too many fans in their builds and it's not representative of how people are going to build their systems. Most people, especially with a case like this, will just add their cooler and you'll be good to go. Sometimes more fans doesn't equal better thermal performance, it just equals more noise, and yeah, that's a bit of a tangent in itself. If you're interested in any of the hardware used in this build, there's a PC part picker list down below, and there's little like cards that follow the parts around when I do the build, so you can look at that as well if I haven't added the list yet, or if Claire hasn't added the list, or if Bindi hasn't added the list yet. I don't know who does the list. I don't know who does anything anymore. I just stand around and make videos because that's all I'm good for. Time for some real talk. What's the deal with the Montech XR Wood? Well, this case is based on another Montech case called the XR, which is a fish tank of the same size. Keep in mind, this case isn't really that big. I'm kind of not short, but short, and also the table's elevated, and it always makes these cases look much bigger than they are. The build quality on this is, I'm gonna say the B word, I'm gonna say it. Bitch! This is a budget-focused case. The price of this case alone should indicate who this is targeted at, and I've shown it already, but we haven't spoken about it. We're getting to it. In terms of building in this case, it's relatively easy. One thing with this case that I thought was quite strange is the center standoff for the motherboard is not a centering peg, which means it doesn't have the little lip on it to hold the board in place. You physically have to hold the board, line it up with the screw holes, and whiz her up. There's a simple solution for normal people, but you guys know I'm not a normal person. Lay the case down and do it that way. I don't build like that. It looks crap on video, and I've built thousands of PCs standing up, so for me to do it standing up is way easier. Laying it down just hurts my back now because I'm old. I'll give you a cookie in the comments if you can guess how old I am. It's my birthday like 2 days ago. This is supposed to be cheap, and it does feel quite cheap. Just because there's a Montech / Gear Seekers case out on the market doesn't mean I'm going to let Montech get off easily with some kind of bonehead decisions with this case. Adding wood to a budget case doesn't make it more premium. It just means there's two pieces of wood that ultimately didn't really need to be there in the first place. I don't think it really adds that much to the aesthetic because it's so tiny. You can barely see the wood on this case. It does smell good though. Wood always smells good. If you can get a chance to smell wood. The truth with the XR Wood is it could go without the wood. It's not enough wood on the case for it to really make an impact. Sure, it has the little accent, and maybe you'll notice it, but if you didn't tell me that this had wood on it, I might not have even noticed that it was there in the first place. It is a strange idea because, like I said in the intro, there's a whole bunch of cases with wood on them. They have like wood slats, kind of like what we have around us. But Montech was like, hey, that's a cool idea, and let's add a little bit of wood to our case. But is it necessary? Probably not. There is a twist, and the twist is, this case is $79 US. Forget about the wood, it's not even that important. $79 US with 4 included PWM daisy chainable 5-volt addressable RGB fans. Now, fans can be expensive. I would almost go as far as saying that the fans in this case are more expensive than the chassis. I think it's a good deal. If you're looking at building a budget-focused PC, the XR Wood is a pretty good option, and here's why. First of all, again, $79 US or 119 Aussie dollars, whatever the price is. It's got heaps of fan compatibility. If you're trying to build a blingin' PC, this has the space to make you forget that it's, oh, ah, did I break it? This case has the space to make you forget that it's not one of Montech's more premium cases. Yeah, that's it. That's really it, right? $79 US, you can't complain. It's not terrible value. It's not terrible build quality. It's just nowhere near the best that Montech has to offer. I'm not hating on wood cases, guys. I like wood cases. The Studio PC down there has got a wood case, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll put it there. It's a bit chaotic as per usual. But yeah, this case isn't terrible. It's pretty good value, but for me personally, I'm spoiled. I like the premium cases like the King 95 Ultra. That's a self-plug. The King 95 Ultra is basically sold out now anyway, so you know, there's that too. But yeah, this is a decent case, but is it for someone like me? No. Is it for your mama? Is it for an enthusiast? Definitely not. Is it for someone who's trying to save some coin? Absolutely. I think this is actually a pretty good deal. $79 US, 4 fans, okay build quality, and lots of fan compatibility, and the thermals aren't terrible. Just don't use the filters, they're pointless. Someone will ask about this in the comments. The little GPU support holder that says Gear Seekers on it, you can only get that if you buy the King 95 Ultra. I'm not plugging the case anymore, guys, because I feel like it's a bit cringe, but yeah, that's how you get it. And if Montech wants to sell them separately that say Gear Seekers on them, then I guess they can do that. So maybe we should make them do that. Yeah, maybe we should make them do that. That's a good idea. I'm actually standing with my legs completely spread out right now. Let me see if I can show you. This is so awkward. Look, this is how I fit myself on camera when I'm down here. What an absolute freak.